Hello everyone, we're here Erev Bedikas Chametz, Erev Pesach, and we have a lot of things that I would like to share, some new ideas for this year, Pesach, to understand a little bit the Pesach Seder and what's happening, how to get really free. So I'm going to give a lot of information pretty quickly. It might be worth it to listen to the video a few times to go over the things because there's a lot of different parts and ideas. So I hope I'll be able to say things quickly, clearly, in a way that makes sense to you. All right, so Parashas Lech Lecha, the first Adam Arishon was sent into Galus, into exile. The first man was kicked out of Gan Eden, of paradise, and that was the first time he fell into Egypt. What's Egypt? It's a world of limitation. Adam ate from the Etz Hadas, he ate from the tree of knowledge, and he was not ready for it, and he ate it, according to some, with the wrong intention. We'll explain that about it later, and the idea is that he kind of like an indigestion, so to speak, and he didn't have the ability to process. It was too early, and his da'as was broken. His da'as, his understanding of the world, his knowledge of the world, his clarity about the world got broken, and he fell into a world with limited perception, limited vision, and that's the world we call Egypt, which is the other present world that we have. The first one that came to go out to fix that really is Avraham Avinu, the first man who converted, and he is the first one who did the necessary steps to go out of Egypt. And we are told in Parashas Lech Lecha, which is where Avraham comes, and we are told that's the main things we were told. The first thing we're told about Lech Lecha, how Avraham came out of his own Egypt. And it's a lesson for us. So Parashas Lech Lecha, God is telling us, Avram is telling us, if you want to go out of Egypt, you need to go to yourself. Lech Lecha, go inside for yourself. You need to connect to the you, the unique you. So how do you do that? The first verse says, Vayomer Hashem el Avram. God tells Avram, Lech Lecha, go for yourself. Me'artzecha, from your land. Mimoladtecha, from your birthplace, u'mibeis avicha, and from your father's house, el haaretz asher areka, towards the land that I will show you. So here we have a 3-step process. Well, first of all, it's kind of 4, because you have Lech Lecha. Now I have to go into me, to connect to the true me, to the self, to the soul in me. So how do I do that? We have the first thing that we're conditioned by is the Artzecha, your land, your country. Every place where you're in the world, where you live, from the moment you're born, you're influenced by the political views, the media, the regime, communism, capitalism, the way people think in that country. Every country has an influence and makes you want to be a patriot of representing something. God said, Avram, you got to go out of this macro, system, and some things are good and some things are not good. So we have to make sure we disconnect from the not good and choose only the parts that are good. But even more than that is that I'm here for a very unique mission. The mission of that country is not my mission, and therefore I need to find my own unique individual mission. So that was the first step, and sometimes you do things that goes against your country, and that's difficult. You're not. It doesn't fit your behavior. Doesn't reflect what the country believes in, and you can be sometimes in trouble. Then you have umimolatecha, the country of your birth, not the country of your birth, the place of your birth, and that's, in my understanding, they're referring to the city where you're born, the community where you're born. That's really where you are influenced even more powerfully by the social pressure, people around you, the way people behave. If you're born in a very religious community, a not religious community, conservative, reform, you're going to be influenced by the people around you, the friends, and that's even more uncomfortable to disconnect from, and to be the black sheep in that community if who you are doesn't fit with that place. But we have to go to the root of who I'm supposed to be. I'm not supposed to be what my country wants, what my community wants. I'm supposed to be what God wants me to be, and I have to find out for myself how to connect to that. So that's the community. It's even harder, but the hardest really is umibeis avicha, and the place of your house, your home, because that's where your parents, where you are under the influence of your parents, and your parents has the strongest influence. They want you to be a certain way. They want you to be a tzaddik, a chacham, a righteous, a lawyer, a pianist, whatever it is that they want, and they have their dreams, and they usually impose their dreams on us. Now, some of the dreams are great, but I have to find what it is that I am supposed to be. You know, Samson Raphael here says your kids are not really your kids, they're God's kids, and they're here for a specific mission. Yes, you're responsible for them, and you have to love them. So part of it is, influencing them the way you want, but you have to let them the room and the space to grow, the freedom to find themselves, and not to impose your own mission on them. So this is the most uncomfortable thing for the kids, because sometimes it goes against, if the father has this belief or this type of way he likes to live his life, and you want to go different, let's say religious, not religious, or lawyer or rabbi or whatever it is that you choose to live, your parents it's going to create some tension. So we're not all the way always lucky to have parents who are very open and about us finding our own path or accepting the path we choose. So that's very hard, but even to the point of kivud avim, because yes, you can. This is still kivud avim, even though you don't go in your parents' path, because is the way you do it, the respect and not contradicting your parents in a negative way. You have everything you do has to be done with love and yira and honor, but still you have to be yourself. Your parents don't come before you, you come before first in terms of finding your mission. So this is the first step. So Avram went alone and had to find himself, and all the ones who came after him, who needed to be free and to go out of Egypt, so to speak, had to go out of their comfort zone, out of their environment, conditionment. We have been conditioned to believe something. So people who are a bit familiar with the Matrix, the same thing. The Matrix is a system, the society that exists, the nature, the natural environment, and we have to go out of that to be free of it. Now we can choose some of it, we can choose to be part of it, but first I need to go out of the matrix to go back in the matrix. I have to go out of a place to go back in a place, disconnect to reconnect. All our great, fathers, like Moshe Rabbeinu was in Egypt himself. He had to go out of Egypt in order to go back to Egypt to save the people who are in Egypt. Each one of us has to do that. We have to kind of go out in order to come back. Like you come back after, you leave your parents' home and then you come back to your parents' home to honor them, but with the new you, and they see the new you have become. And that's when usually they get the great respect that you have, because you have become someone. David HaMelech and Yaakov, they all had to leave home, and they were left alone. There's that part where we need to be alone. And there's no coincidence we're in quarantine now. And during that Pesach time, we need to be alone. We need to think for ourselves: who am I? What's the true me? Am I just the condition or the accumulation of things that made me who I am today? What's the part of me that's truly me? We have to understand that the moment you're born, even before you're born, when you're in the womb, already you're affected by the stress of the mother, what she eats, what she sees. So the true you is really affected and hidden behind all those emotions and those thoughts. From the moment you're born, after a few hours already, you have seen things, you have heard things, you feel the surrounding, and you can be impacted by it in many different ways. So we have to go back to our true self and find our mission. For that seclusion, all the books, Mesilas Yesharim, the Chovos HaLevavos, the Baal Shem Tov, the son of the Rambam, Maspeak Le'avdei Hashem, all those books speaks, and the Arizal speaks about that the level they achieved, the great level, the Rishim Bar Yochai achieved it by spending a lot of time alone, meditating, focusing on themselves, learning Torah, being connected to God, disconnect from all of society. And we all need to do that on some level. Now is a good time. And all this is necessary for Pesach to be free. Pesach is a process where we try to tap into that place where we were alone. That's why Adam and Rishon was created alone. So he was supposed to find his own unique mission. So what's the matzah? The matzah is that part that is the real you. Matzah is water and flour. It's just, God. How did God make man? He put water and earth and mud, and so matzah doesn't really taste like anything. Matzah is pure. There's no chametz, meaning there's no external things. There's no ego, negative ego. There's just the you, the true you, the self, the matter, the original, the potential. So when I eat the matzah, the reason I eat the matzah, because the matzah represents the self, and the question is, what are you going to do with the matzah? What are you going to do with that potential? And that's God blew into that body of clay and water. He blew into that, he blew in that body a Neshama, a piece of God, and that's our Tselem Elokim, that's our mission, that's our own uniqueness, that's what we have to use. So that's our kavana. When we do that, the same thing on the matzah. When we eat the matzah, we put our kavana into the matzah, which represents the raw potential, but more than that, it represents more than that. How many matzos do we have? We have 3 matzos. Why is 3 matzos? Because, so that's a drawing that I do. Excuse, I'm not a great artist, but enough for us to understand. The head corresponds to the Chokhmah Bina Das, which is the 3 powers of the mind, which correspond to our main root, our Neshama. That represents the Neshama, and then you have the body, which represents Egypt, which is why the Seder plate has those 7, the 6 symbols, and the plate is the 7 lower spheros, which is the 7 material powers, not just material, but the 7 lower powers that make this world together with this. But that corresponds to the body. The body desires, inclination, instinct. So what's happening is that on Passover, we are eating the matzah, and the middle matzah is the das. What's the das? It corresponds to what we say, the Etz HaDas that was eaten in Gan Eden. So what we do, we broke the das. Our das was broken. So when we do, we also break the matzah, the das. We realize that the das, our understanding of the world, our knowledge of God, our living in this world has been affected, and therefore we are trying to rectify it. So we eat the matzah. Adam Arishon ate from the Etz HaDas. So we do the same action, but this time we try to eat with the right intention. So we eat the small part. Everybody's given from the small part of the matzah that is broken, and we eat that raw potential, we eat that part of us that is truly unique. How we're going to rectify ourselves by going back to our true self and reconnect to our mission, and that's what's going to enable us to connect really to God and reality, what the world truly is, who God is, and my own unique relationship with Him. So, and what we do with the bigger matzah, we send it back, we hide it. Safun, we eat it at Safun, which means hidden, because the bigger picture, my das and the das of the world will be completed when Moshiach comes. We eat at the end of the Seder. That's when the Etz HaDas will be fixed completely, and will have become Etz HaChaim, which includes everything. The Etz HaChaim is all 10 united together. It's the Torah. So what's happening is that we are trying to, when you eat the matzah, when you eat the sandwich, and when you try to elevate, it says that the matzah was like the man. It doesn't taste like anything because it's raw potential. Your neshama is pure potential. It can be anything. It has its own unique mission, but you can reach your mission, which is to be close to God, in many different ways, in 7 different colors, 7 different ways. So what do we do? Just like the man, it could taste like anything. When you eat the matzah, you put on the kavana, you put the soul into the body, so to speak, like Adam, and you imagine what you want it to taste like. What do you want? What do you think? Do you imagine the world should be? What do you imagine who you could be? How do you imagine your relationship with God can be? Your own unique way. You have to be able to serve God in your own unique way. You have to be able to see your relation with God in your own unique way. So the physical, the body, which represents the 7, right? Our life is like, no, so I'm not going there yet. Actually, yes, it's connected. Our life, we're putting Gan Eden, is like a white paper. So the matzah and the water, our body is like potential. God put us in this world, and He gave us 7 colors to make the painting. Here, you take it from here. I did the world, I created the world. Now it's your turn to be creator and to create the world. And that's ourselves. We are born and we are told, now you put your neshama into your body. I put the 3 into the 7. And I want you to now start creating your own world. And that's a reference a bit to when we say in Shemon Esrei, in the 18 blessings, the first one is Elokei Abraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov. That each one, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, were able to bring something unique about God. Meaning that when people will see Abraham and his lady say, wow, this chesed in the world, God does good, give good, is a giver, is a lover of humanity. So each one of us has to act in a way that reflects one of the facets of God, Tselem Elokim, reflection of the powers of God, of what He does in the world. Each one has his own unique way to give it. So we hide the matzah, the middle matzah that we broke, the afikoman, because the afikoman is going to be the big picture. When Moshiach comes, we will see, we have clarity at the end, we'll be able to see it. But what do we do with it? We hide it. And who is going to look for it? What's the game? It's the kids who looks for it, because the only way to see the full picture, and the only way to be free and to go towards the end is when our inner child, the children that we have in our lives, we stay innocent like them. What happened? A child asks a lot of questions and he believes he can be anything. I want to be Superman. I want to be a fireman. I want to be fly to the moon. So a child knows he can be anything. He's not limited by Egypt. He's not limited by this physical world, by the limitation. Obviously, the child needs to mature, but that takes time. But we should not let that inner questioning, that inner potential die in us. We should not become adult. We should become mature kids. That should be the true definition of an adult. And not never let go of our dreams, of our uniqueness of who I'm supposed to be, who I can be. And that's what's going to enable us to connect to God and to fulfill our mission towards the end, right? So that's the challenge. One of the reasons we eat the maror is because the maror is a little bit bittersweet. Is the difficult process of going out of Egypt, of getting out of our habits, our tendencies. So let's go back to the 7 sfirot. Each one is a symbol of our character traits that we need to go out. So also, I like to say this is the body, and we through the body need to disconnect from Egypt and go to Israel, which is the head. Here, Pharaoh, which is the same letters as Oref, Ha'oref, the neck, is also Pera, the evil mouth, because the idea is that Pharaoh wants to keep you in society. The Satan, the evil, wants to keep you in your body and have your body lead your head and not your head your body. Is it the dog that leads the shepherd? So the dog is like the body, and it can be your best friend, Kalev, but it's really the owner, the shepherd, the soul that needs to lead the body. But in order to do that, we need to go out of Egypt to a place of seclusion, a place of uniqueness, a place where it's just you, where you're alone, and not let your body, which represents all the things in this world that you feel limited by. You know, we are jealous of certain things, we desire certain things. So are you really happy? You're not happy, you want things. So as we go through the Seder, the 15 steps and the 4 cups, we are basically going out of our body and try to connect to the highest level, the level of our Neshama. Okay, we'll come back to that later. Another thing I wanted to add is that the concept of sheep. The korban was a sheep, right? A lamb comes from the sheep. And what happened, Egypt, the highest god in Egypt was the lamb. The reason it happened in Nisan is Nisan was in the zodiac signs the Aries, which is the sheep, and the female of the Aries, and basically what Pharaoh wanted. One reason Pharaoh pushed it till that time, and why Hashem decided that it should be pushed till that time, it was because Hashem wanted to show that the highest power is God, and God is beyond any power, even beyond the power of the ram, the zodiac signs, the powers that exist in creation. And so that's what we take. We take the lamb, the sheep, and we toast it. We make a korban of it, and it has to be whole. We have to see the whole sheep barbecued at the time of the temple, and when we were in Egypt. And it is a provocation to the country where we live in, to the place where we live in. We're saying, we take your God. Imagine I would take the American flag and burn it in Times Square. What will happen to me, right? So the Jews got the guts to do that in Egypt and to show true freedom, that we are not any of these. We are Jews, and we come from Avraham. Why we come from Avraham? Because Avraham Ivri, he was the man from the other side. Why? Because he went on the other side. He was against the entire world. He didn't believe of any beliefs of idolatry, the way the world looked at the world and the spiritual powers. And he says, I'm against all of that. It's interesting. It's Passover. You pass over, just like ever. That over is probably the same root as the Hebrew. So Abraham passed over, went on the other side of the world, and on Pesach we do the same thing. We go on the other side of everything that we believe in, or that we have been taught and conditioned to believe in, and we go out of the matrix. So what happened is that why Pharaoh wanted why Egypt represents the sheep, because the sheep is the meh, right? One sheep goes there, they all go there. They follow. That's what sheep do. One says meh, everybody says meh, and that's the media. That's the conditionment that we have in society, and doctrinament, right? And we have to try to go out of that. So we have to become black sheep. So black sheep means you're not going to be liked. It's hard. You're going to be, anti-Semitism or whatever it is. Actually, it's not really true. Anti-Semitism is because we are not the black sheep. If we're black sheep, we'll be Israel already, the way we're supposed to be. Anti-Semitism because we want to be white sheep like everyone else. Or you want to be like everyone else, we'll send you back to teach you to be a black sheep. So the idea is that we have to not be afraid to be the black sheep in our own home, in our own community, or in our own society, land, like we saw with Abraham. If you're an individual, if you're unique, don't let anything limit you. You have to go out of your own Egypt. So, this is the idea of eating the korban Pesach. So when we eat the matzah, we are eating the lamb. We're eating the sheep that is in us, that says meh, that just want to follow people. And that's why, by the way, the whole Pesach Seder is about asking question. Why this? Why that? Why that? I have to ask myself, why am I like this? Why am I like that? Why am I stingy? One thing because of society, because of my parents. Why do I buy Nike shoes? Why do I drink Coca-Cola? Well, I was brainwashed for 10,000 hours from media and advertisement. So become the black sheep. Drink Pepsi. I'm not saying you should drink those things. They are bad for you. We should drink water. Or if you choose to eat Coca-Cola or buy Nike shoes or buy an iPhone, remember that you do it because you choose to do it because you want it, because it helps you in your life. But if you do it because you want to be cool and you look like others, that's Egypt, that's social pressure. You have to make sure everything you do is for yourself. One of the reasons we go in the Seder with kids is to really understand that sometimes I'm the Russia, sometimes we're not bipolar, we're quadripolar. I have made myself into a Russia, I've made myself into a Shenolo de Alishol, I've made myself into a Tam or a Chacham, and it's up to me to choose how I see myself. Every part of me has to be answered. Every part of me have to become free. And sometimes we have made our own kids like that because of the way we push them to be a certain way. We have to help ourselves and our kids in our home find their own uniqueness, and each one needs to find its own uniqueness. Usually the Russia is someone that couldn't find himself and he's lost and he was pushed to be a certain way, and therefore people say, oh, he's not part of the Seder. You made him become like that. You made him become someone who doesn't ask or like that, because you say, when he asks questions, say, God says so, that's how it is. So we have to free our inner kids, we have to free our own kids in our home, and we have to go around the Seder table and ask questions. So the reason we ask questions, everybody is participating and reading and say, so what do you think you would have done in this situation? What's your way of thinking? We have to approach each kid on its own level, each part of its own level, and ask the difficult question, but more important, ask him to bring something new, because each one has something unique to bring. So when we go around the Seder and everybody speaks, we push the child, we push ourselves to come with our own unique understanding, our own unique explanation of the Haggadah, our own unique thing. We all have something to bring into this world. We have something unique to reveal. And we have to be able to transform all the kids into Chacham, right? Every one of the kids is really a good kid. How did he become like that? Because of Egypt. So we try to take all our kids out of Egypt so that they all feel part, that they all feel unique, that they all feel they have their soul that can come out. Okay, so that's the important thing that we do around Seder. Try to reach everyone, whether it's adults or children. Try to push everyone to bring out their own uniqueness and have them, you know, come with their own pshat and push them to think on their own. And I think it's sometimes better not to have any commentaries when you read the Haggadah, because that really prevents you from coming with your own unique understanding. What would you have done if you were in Egypt? And we have that question in the Haggadah, right? So everyone has to think on his own. How are you going to become the black sheep? We want to be leaders. We want to be shepherd. We don't want to be black sheep. So let's continue. Sorry, it's fast, but you can rewatch the video if it's too many things at the same time. But I don't want it to be too long. I can go for hours. So Egypt is the physical world, right? Israel is the spiritual world. We try to go out of Egypt to go in Israel, but then we want to go back into the physical, into the body. We don't want to disregard the physical. The Jews, they're not against the physical, the material. No, we have to have a balance. Judaism is a balance. Halakha Torah is learning to be spiritual in the physical and to balance both. We take our soul and going body. The goal is not to have no Chametz during the whole year. We disconnect on Pesach to be really alone with our own matzah, our own flour and water, our essence, our own potential. But then we go back into the world and we work on those 7 things. We eat bread again. We eat Chametz, but we eat it with kavanah. We do it in the right way, and that's why right after Pesach, the day after, the second day, we start counting Sfiras HaOmer, because Sfiras HaOmer correspond to the 7 character traits that a human being has that are more physical, that correspond to the instinct of the body and the emotional, the desires that the body has, and we learn to work on each one of them. So that's why you have 7 weeks, 7 weeks for the 7 Sfirot, love, strength, harmony, victory, gratitude, connection, and unity. And so that's the work of the Sfiras HaOmer, of the 7 weeks. Every week we work on one of the character traits, so that you actually work on going back into the physical. And on Shavuot, interestingly, what do we eat? What's bring in the Beis Hamikdash? Not a lamb, not a korban. We have destroyed the korban when we eat a challah. And challah is with chametz. We are able to take our ego and our and stay humble and use the physical world in a balanced way and elevate it through our intention, our neshama. We have to realize that this is our true power in this world, because we all do the same thing. Everyone, who is religious, for example, everyone put on tefillin, everybody prays, everybody does every mitzvah. So we all have 613 mitzvot, but the idea is, how are you going to do the mitzvah that is unique and different? Everything depends on your thoughts, your own thoughts, how you interpret, how you infuse it with your own thing. The Nefesh HaChaim says, and the Arizal, if you think something and you speak something, you're creating worlds. You're creating angels. Spirituality your thoughts are real. That's right. Very powerful concept, and therefore, when we do the mitzvos and we do all that, we have to be able to infuse it with kavanah. The Rav Tzadok HaKohen of Lublin said that the mistake of Adam HaRishon is that he ate without kavanah, with the wrong kavanah. He was supposed to eat with the right intention. So infuse into, when I put on tefillin, I put on tefillin in a way with my own concept of what tefillin is, my own understanding, my own kavanah. And therefore, we can all be doing the same thing, but really it's unique. Interestingly, during this time, on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, that's where we start celebrating. It was the dedication of the Mishkan, the sanctuary in the desert, and we had 12 Shvatim, 12 tribes, and every tribe bring for the Chanukah Mishkan of the the celebration of the conclusion and the starting of the Mishkan was, we had to wait till Nisan. There's no coincidence. And every Shevet brought the princes, the 12 princes representing the 12 Shvatim, were bringing each one its own korban, its own gifts. And if you look at the gifts, they're actually all the same. It's 12 times the repetition of the same. And the Torah doesn't add any other word, but it keeps repeating 12 times the same thing. So why did they bring each one the same thing? How is that a gift? It's not original. The whole idea is that actually they were all different. On a physical level, on the body, on the materialistic level, they were all the same. But everything depended on what their intention was. So, for example, if one had to bring three, they brought I forgot exactly the details, but you can read it in the book. Let's say 3 silver coins. So one would say it represents Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Or 3. So some say would say it will represent Chochma Bina Das, and 3 will say whatever, another 3. You understand me? The idea is that we can be doing the same thing, but we have to. In our life, we all eat, we all sleep, we all go to work, we all go to sleep. Sorry, I'm repeating myself, trying to be fast. We all do things in the world that are physical, and so what's different from me and you? The only thing that is different is what is in there, right? So we all have to bring our own unique kavana, our own unique twist. Ashivim panim la Torah. That's why every Jew is responsible for the Torah. It means that each one of us has something to reveal about the Torah that no other Jew can reveal. And that's what we do on the Haggadah, where everybody gets a chance. Even the Rasha has something to bring that no one else can bring. Each one of us is part of the Torah. So there is no Rasha. It's just we're trapped into Egypt, into the physical material world. So that's why we read, one of the reasons we read before Pesach. It's a whole preparation for Pesach to understand that same concept. Now, we have 15 steps, right? And the 15 steps, we have 4 cups of wine. And 4 cups of wine correspond to the 4 elements: earth, water, air, and fire, which correspond to the 4 olamot. For the one who knows Kabbalah, God created the world with 4 dimensions in 4 steps, which is Asiya. It's really 5, but we're really in touch with 4. Asiya, Yetzira, Bria, and Atzilus. And it corresponds to the 4 or 5 levels of the Neshama: Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, Yechida. So, as each cup is for us to be in touch with it. We know Nichnas Yain Yotze Sod. We have to drink wine. Purim is a preparation for the wine. It's a preparation to learn how to drink, and be in touch with ourselves. That's why on Purim we take off the mask, or we hide behind the mask. We try to be in touch. Who am I? Who are we? On Pesach we reveal the true self. I'm matzah and water. I'm my soul. I'm the potential that God gave me to be someone unique and a unique mission. So as we drink, we try to reveal the deeper parts of ourselves. And it's important to drink wine, because the wine will enable you to be more open with your own self, as we know. Don't get drunk though. What's happening is that I have I just want to add that it corresponds to the 4 exiles that we had: Babel, Persia, Greece, and Edom, the Roman, which is the Western world today. We have the 5th cup, which is that we have, which correspond to Yechida, which correspond to the 5th level, the highest level, the 5th level of the soul. But this, we're only going to have access to it when Moshiach comes. And that's why this is the cup of Eliyahu, who is supposed to bring Moshiach. And it's a reminder that, eventually we're going to reach that, and we don't drink that cup for that purpose. So, those 4 elements that we spoke about, those 4 worlds, those 4 levels, correspond to the roots of all evil inclination. So earth corresponds to sadness, water corresponds to the desires for pleasure, air corresponds to the sicha betela, the empty speech and negative speech, and fire corresponds to our kas and gaiva, our arrogance and anger, and we have to fight it with four things. Sadness is fought with joy, and then desire for pleasure is fought with controlling those desires, and the sicha betela, empty speech and negative speech, is fought with silence, and finally the fire, the kas anger, is fought with humility. So what's happening? The first cup helps us fight the sadness. Why are we sad? Because we don't think we're holy. We don't think we're unique. We don't think we're trapped by the body, and that's the earth is the heaviest of element. So what we do Kadesh. We say we are all holy. We're all prince of God, and we have to act like royalty. We're unique, and we clean ourselves from the physical, from the materiality, and we drink also connected to, well, that's going to be too much, but basically minerals. It's also minerals, vegetables, animals, and the speech men that speak. That's just for references for those who know Kabbalah. Anyway, the idea is that here, because we dip the corpus into salt water, and salt is minerals. Anyway, so that's the first thing. So I work on cleaning myself of all physical, all instinct, all my instinct that that I feel like I'm an animal, that I'm not holy, I'm not deserving, and I achieve a state of tremendous joy, removing any sadness, any negative part of the earth dust level. Then I drink my second cup. That's going to help me work on the second part. The second part is most of the step. Why? Because most of the step has the second level, Ruach. Ruach corresponds to the world of Yetzirah, and that's where our Yetzer Hara is. The Yetzer Hara, the Yetzer Tov, Yetzer Hara, evil inclination. Evil inclination is not just the instinct that's part of the nefesh, the animal soul, but it's the instinct. It's the desire. Is all the desire that I have to in my life, and we have the desire for pleasure. We all want to be happy, but we become jealous. We become stingy. We become, and bitter. Then all those seven things are gonna represent the different limitation that we have, that prevents us from truly being pure and grow into our avodas Hashem, being close to God and connecting to our true self. So that's where we, how do we work on desire for pleasure? We don't eat. For Maggie it takes so long, and everybody is complaining we're not eating, because we learn to control our desires. That's precious. We learn to be careful not to that we are in charge. Our Yetzer Tov is in charge of Yetzer Hara, and I'm only gonna reach the level where I eat with intention, with kavanah. When my soul is ready, I'm gonna enter into the physical and use the physical for the right reason. So that's what we do. We speak, and then finally we eat, but we don't even eat something that is pleasurable. We eat the matzah, because the whole idea, again, I say, the pleasure is the kavanah you put in it, like the man, whatever it tastes, and we get the joy from serving God, for using the physical that has no taste, but we can bring taste to. You can bring different colors, 7 notes, and we play our own song, we play our own kavanah, and we go, and maror also. Maror, life is bitter, and we get sometimes life is bitter, is difficult, and we understand that there's a purpose to that bitterness. The physical is a process, and therefore everything depends on how I understand it. You understand there's a purpose, then I'm able to deal with it and be free of of the pain, of the sadness, of the bitterness that we encounter in our life. So we're deep in the charoset, because there's always some good even in the dark thing. So this is all that, and finally, so the main part of us, our main work is the Yetzer Hara, is working on this one. Is the hardest. That's why it's so long, because the Ruach is between the Nefesh and the Neshama. The Ruach, Yetzira, the desires, are a desire to be like the body, more like the goof, more like the instinct, the animal instinct, and it's push. But in the other side is a battle to be like the Neshama. So are you going to use your Yetzer to go up or more down, right? And that's the biggest battle. That's what makes us us. That's how we get our reward, our lama for our work. So this is the whole thing. And then finally, we reach Barech, which is able to touch with the third cup our Neshama. We have cleaned ourselves of the earth and the water element that are unstable and difficult. And finally, we go through the water, we go through the neck, we go through beyond power and limitation, and we reach the level of Neshama, where we bless, we do the benching. The Neshama is celebrating, realize that it's all good, that all what we ate and everything is a celebration of serving God, and we're in touch with our Neshama. And then finally, Chaya is Hallel. Hallel is going even beyond that, is connected to our Chaya, which is even beyond our soul. We're singing and trying to reach levels beyond. They say that we're able to achieve Ruach HaKodesh if we do the Seder the right way. We reach Ruach HaKodesh. Finally, the last step, which corresponds to the fifth cup that we don't drink, but Nirtza is saying that God is desired. God desired, accepted my Seder, my own uniqueness. That's all what we want to do in a Seder, that whatever way you do it, whatever creative way, even though you're alone, even though you didn't do it perfectly, you tried your best, you tried your own unique way to connect to God. And that's what God wants. That's all what God wants. And you have to end up the Seder feeling that God accepts you the way you are, and He wants you the way you are. And because He's your daddy, He made you, He's your creator. I wanted to add also with the thing that we are in the Messiah Shem says that in Zeirut, I might have said it, that Pharaoh was trying to prevent us from thinking. He made us busy, so that we don't have time to think. Zeirut, awareness, is so important in everything, everyday life. So the whole Seder is we become very aware of everything that we do, why we did this. That's why we have to ask questions all the time. You have to ask questions, why do I do to go to work? Why go to sleep? Why do this that way or that way? That's the only way to be free. And that's what Pao made us so busy with working and producing and making money, and that we got completely lost and assimilated. And that's what society does with the media, with keep busy. And if you're busy, you cannot be alone. You cannot meditate and think of yourself. You need to take time off. That's why we have Shabbat. Okay. So I think I told you all the main ideas that I wanted to share with. I think we went pretty fast. There was a lot of ideas. So like I said, after when we're finished Pesach, we have, after the first day of Pesach, we start counting the Omer, where you working on your own to, like, the Pesach night is a gift. We go out. God took us out, even though we were on the 49th level of Tuma. You were on the lowest level, and God took you out on the lowest level because you showed some sign of freedom, of strength from Avram, that you were ready to burn that sheep. And we then try to earn it on our own, right? God gives us some gifts, some things in this world, and He says, now you go for it. You continue. You complete my world. But for that, we need to make sure we don't get trapped into that world. And that's why the 7 character traits, the 7 weeks where we work. Look under when say day 1 or day 2, in we count the Omer under, it says chesed shebechesed, gvura shebechesed. Each one is a different aspect of our character traits that we need to work on. Trying to make sure I didn't forget anything important. Well, there's always more, but I think we're gonna stop here, and I hope that you all gonna have an amazing Passover Seder where you're gonna be free, where you're able to connect to yourself, you know, I was thinking, you know, those times where alone people are scared what's gonna happen, Corona, we lo irara ki ata imadi. Don't be scared because I am with you. It's not good for man to be alone. Yeah, it's not good for him to be alone, but you know what was Adam's problem? Adam's problem is that he didn't recognize that he was not alone. God was here. God was here, and he didn't understand he had that unique relationship with God, that own connection with God. You can be home, you can be alone. The world can go crazy. It doesn't matter. God is with you. If you're with God, nothing can happen. And you're not really alone. Now it's sometimes sound not tangible enough, and it's hard. But think of the love you have for yourself. Think of everything you have. Think of all, since you're born, everything you were given. It's all given by God. Sometimes we think God hates me, doesn't love me, but you know what? It's not true, because think of all the things that all the times you were loved, all the people who loved you, all the good that you have in your life. You know who that comes from? It comes from God. And therefore, really, we're surrounded constantly by good things. And we have to be grateful for the toilet paper and everything, things as insignificant as that. They're all given by God. We think it's magic. We think it's it comes from someone. Yeah, but everything is orchestrated by God. At the end, there's only two things in the world: you and God, and that's the true reality. That's realizing. Bishvili nivra olam. The whole world was created for me. God made all that for me, and I'm here. And I have to learn to deal with that. I have to make out my own mission. I have to be my own Neo, my own Moshiach. I have to be my own savior. You can save yourself from Egypt. Nobody is telling you, is forcing you to be anything. But sometimes it's hard to go out of the things that people want you to do. So you have to try to be strong enough to believe in your own dream, to believe in your soul, to believe in your unique mission, and really do it. So may we all be able to tap into our own inner child, our inner potential, our inner essence, our own matzah soul, and may we be able to become the greatest being that we can be in this world. Have a wonderful Chag Sameach.